Hello Reapers, my name's Seth and we are back here with some more Trove and today we're going to finally be talking about the dev stream. The most recent developer stream ended up actually talking about some pretty exciting stuff. It's been a while since we ended up doing one of these recaps, I know. Most of all that's just because a lot of the info that the devs have been talking about in their recent streams was just stuff about the new Trove Heroes update, you know, Luminopolis, showing the Vanguard and stuff like that that we've already ended up covering on the channel. Now, that said, leave me a little feedback on whether or not you would prefer me to just talk about the dev highlights, like the dev stream highlights, no matter what, even if it is just repeated content, because I can do that, but you know, for the most part, I like cluing you guys in on all the new stuff. In any case, big shout out to Shiro Cutie for actually putting up the post on the Trove forums, and hopefully next live stream is going to end up being as exciting as well, because we got some really cool stuff, and most of all are going to be talking about how U10 is confirmed, and then also we actually have another side forum post from Fasty talking about the new dragon packs and how expensive those are going to end up being when the Trove Heroes update launches, without any feedback being given to them yet. But in either case, will the developers add more stash exclusive head styles? So those are going to end up being in like the, you know, the heads like the rhino head, the eagle head and stuff like that. Styles that people really enjoy, modders really enjoy making altercations on them. But you gotta get them through the stash vaults exclusively, right? They actually say that there is no plans, but they're getting ready to support more user-created content soon, but no time frame for it. Are we going to see U10 with the Heroes update? So the Heroes update is going to be the update that's coming out either March 20th or 27th. We have no confirmation on the actual release date just yet, but they say not with the Heroes, but this year we are aiming for it. Likely in fall, possibly earlier. We don't want to just scale everything up. We want a new experience and more diverse gameplay. So we've actually talked about this in previous videos, but in case this is the only one that you've tuned into, folks, essentially what they've been kind of hinting at that they're going to be doing with U10 is predefined worlds. So rather than just being something completely random, it should be something that they've chiseled away at the bits and made into a completely custom environment that is going to end up having more of a sense of progression, more of a sense of adventure, very similar to the tutorial world, but we'll see what ends up happening, because this is a little bit of a scary idea that U10, the end game of Trove, would only be when the content gets exciting, you know? Not to say that the rest of the game isn't exciting, but I'm just saying for an average player base, most people wouldn't be able to even see U10 in the first place, right? So are there any plans to add more classes in 2018 that use claws, spears, or bow weapons? So they do say that there are plans to add new classes, yes, and they will end up giving them weapons appropriately. We will definitely see a class reuse the fist weapons for sure, but they have no plans to release another class in 2018, and they can't say when they're going to end up releasing the next class at all. Will you reconsider lowering the Vanguardian's crafting materials needed? So they've got a pretty lengthy explanation, but for the most part, the biggest reason we know that they've made it so expensive is because of the fact that the packs themselves feel like they're more value because of the fact that the Vanguard actually costs as much as it does to actually end up crafting, right? However, the biggest thing that people seem to keep overlooking is the fact that all of the resources used to get the Vanguard require plasminium, or plasmium, as everybody keeps constantly correcting me, or I just like to call it plasmum because it sounds funny. But that resource is tradable, folks, so that's going to be a way that you can grind and get that resource for profit over a long span of time, or you can just buy it from other players. They kind of say that that's their whole goal, is they wanted to add a new resource that was going to end up having longevity as far as its value, because so many times you'll see like the rings came out, like the ring crafting for Radiant and Stellar rings, and within like 2 seconds, Radiant and Stellar souls went up in price and came right back down, you know? Like, it just, a new class is something that is going to end up making it like very coveted no matter what. So with the new invasions being on an hourly time slot, will you still be able to get dragon coins if the Rampage event is active? No, you will not be able to get dragon coins from the Rampage event at all, but they do say that the events themselves are relatively rare, so it shouldn't hurt too much, which you know, is a little bit of a kind of, you know, we'll see what ends up happening kind of thing, because of the fact that Rampage challenges give the, you know, give lots of different items that you actually need to craft new materials. So the fact that they're only like every few hours is kind of, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but they do actually say in the next question here, if you can't get dragon coins from the hourly event of Rampages, will there be another way that is going to be added? The developers actually say, we'll keep an eye on it. We're going to compare how many dragon coins are being used up, and if we do see a huge squeeze on the rate, we'll look into adjusting or maybe even a new method of distribution for dragon coins. I think that would be great, because I think that the whole hourly challenge thing should completely shift over to Rampages, because that's actually really, really cool. And with the fact that Luxian is coming around and we've got like so many new dragons to constantly craft and stuff like that, dragon coins shouldn't be a time-locked bit of content. It should be something that you should just be able to grind over time now. Personally, that's just my own thoughts towards it. When is PvP going to be fixed? So the developers actually say, we can't give a straightforward answer to this, but wait for it, it's gonna be epic. I don't know about that, devs, because unfortunately PvP kind of is something on the sidelines, but maybe they'll end up overhauling it and making it into something cool. Hopefully they're not going to end up just making it, you know, more rewards that were forced to grind out of it, because that was one of the big things that I felt took away from PvP, was the fact that you could play it and it was fun, but the fact that you had to play it for a set amount of time to end up unlocking boxes and stuff like that kind of forced players to grind it rather than being something people were interested in. Not to mention it's completely unbalanced. And then they also say, what are the developers' thoughts on current Purple Name and Dark Chaos Vault reward system? So if you don't know what that is, it means that you have to get on the leaderboard for the power rank of a class in order to actually end up winning the contest and getting yourself a Dark Vault. This is rigged, honestly speaking. It really is. And even as far as Purple Name is concerned, it pretty much is just one small group of like really, really powerful players just goes through Shadow Tower over and over, you know, and then that's all there really is to it. You know, there's not really that much skill involved. You just get a whole group of gunslingers, one candy barbarian to cast their ult. And I'm not trying to say anything against Purple Names by any means. I'm just saying that the current system that is at play is almost impossible for a new player to end up breaking their way into that small community, especially the power rank. Purple Name, you know, that doesn't really matter as much, but the power rank system, that's pretty bad, honestly speaking, because it's the only way that you can end up getting Dark Chaos Vaults. Resolution that I would see to this, is that even the right word for this situation? Is if you ended up getting, like, say, the like Pegasus vaults, maybe you could end up loot collecting those into a fragmented item or something that you could then convert into dark vaults. Like, there should be another method to actually get the dark vaults without necessarily having to mess up with the entire system. That's my 2 cents towards it, but the developers do say both of these could use a revisit. They are very, very low priorities for them, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to look at them in the future. Can non-Steam clients members have a gift option? They don't have a gifting system because of the fact that people could use exploits and fraud and stuff like that. Will Shadow Towers get a rework, like changing the layout, removing the portals in between for a more seamless run? I would love that, but the developers actually have a really good answer to that, where they say the portals are part of a technical limitation. Probably going to stick with the current format for these reasons, so that's a no. What about Yabaki? Is it on par as a mount versus Gonda, or will there be a mount that can rival Gonda? So they got a pretty lengthy explanation, pretty much just saying that they want Gonda at this moment in time to still be the top mount in the game, the best mount that you're trying to get to. Because Yabaki, honestly speaking, I mean, we know it's not actually in the game, even though they had the Yabaki contest and the code is there for the mount. I've never seen anybody use it outside of the developers, and we still don't actually have an in-game method of getting Yabaki just yet, so we'll see how the mount actually ends up operating. Then we got a lengthy comment here, which I'm pretty sure this one was actually from Merc, because he ended up letting me know about it and saying that he was actually very surprised that the developers ended up answering it because of the fact that it's so lengthy. So, you guys said that the update In the update following your Trove heroes, you're going to take a look at all the characters and balance them accordingly. How will this be implemented? Will we see new class gems to fix the flaws that the weaker characters have, or will they be more along the lines of the previous buffs, where an old class gem is buffed along with quality of life tweaks to the characters? So the developers actually responded with, "We'll have more info on that when time goes closer. Large updates are planned after the Trove Heroes update for the rest of 2018. We've kind of been hinting at an all-new system in the streams, not saying anything official though. The combat evaluation pass will happen in one of the updates coming out in 2018. Likely the one that has the new combat features as a headliner will be the one that ends up ironing out all the classes. No, we won't be giving more detail yet, so hang tight for us revealing it in the months ahead." So really cool and excited to hear that they're actually planning to have a whole update dedicated to combat. So I'm really hoping, I've talked about this in the past, that we're going to end up seeing a more dynamic combat system added to Trove, because personally speaking, I love Trove single-handedly because of the combat. It's one of the best action combat systems in any MMO. I would actually argue that. Outside of the fact that the game's rubber banding like crazy, it's got projectile detection like crazy. Yes, it's a broken system. It really is. But you can't argue the fact that the combat is still one of the fastest paced games out there that also just so happens to be an MMO. You know, the guns is probably the closest you get to a combat system that is something like Trove. Even Elder Scrolls Online is close, but still plays a little bit more like a traditional MMO as opposed to this game where it's more of an action battle system. And I would really love to see projectile detection fixed and see different enemies implemented that players would then have to prioritize. Like maybe there's a bomb enemy that runs up to your characters and starts, you know, causing mega damage if it ends up exploding. So ranged characters have to prioritize tagging that guy so that he ends up exploding and causing damage to the group of enemies that he's beside, or something to that effect, you know? Add in some Borderlands gameplay, man. So then they've got a couple joke comments. We're going to skip right over those. When will we be able to post fist styles on the Trove Creation subreddit? So this is how weapons and mods end up getting accepted into the game, is you have to actually post on the Trove subreddit. I don't have a tutorial on it because it's a pretty gross system, and honestly speaking has a lot of favoritism involved with the mods that are on the subreddit. But in any case, they're saying that there's a good chance for reviews starting this summer, so hopefully we're going to see more fist-style weapons being added to the game post the Trove Heroes update. What are your thoughts on extending club adventures? How do you feel about making them longer with more rewards? So this obviously is talking about just the adventure NPCs that are hanging out over here, doing more quests for them, having the quests just be longer in general, and developers say, "We agree with the general concept for adventures to last longer and give proportionately more rewards." We already know right then and there, thankfully the devs know the fact that we should be doing longer quests that give more adventuring, because as it stands right now, the system's pretty bad. You can still kind of use certain quests and stuff like that right now on PC and console versions of Trove to end up farming your adventuring like crazy, but those exploits are going to end up being removed when the Trove Heroes update comes out, and unfortunately means that grinding adventuring is going to be nothing but a chore. But anyways, they go on to say that we'll keep this in mind for the future of the Trove adventures. So no plans by the sounds of things for them to end up ironing out the adventurine, which is disappointing considering that they're going to be adding a new fixture to the next update that essentially is going to end up just being another feature that's going to kind of alienate new players away from the whole adventurine thing, because it's like, you're going to need to grind that much more clue bits to get this new fixture. Thankfully, it's not that expensive. But on top of that, it's just the fact that what they're doing with the adventurine is just not really optimized properly, I would say. But in any case, that's already it, everybody. So we do have some exciting stuff that ended up getting talked about today. Most notably, U10 confirmed for 2018. Very excited about that. Still no release date on the Trove Heroes update. As that ends up actually getting announced, I will end up talking about it. Most likely we'll see an announcement in the next Trove live stream, hopefully on this Friday. But in any case, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Very much appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe for more daily content. And if you want to support me, there's links in the description for my merch store where you can buy this shirt and a bunch of other stuff, as well as Gawkbox, which is a way that you can actually donate to me for absolutely free by doing some sponsored gaming on your phone and stuff like that. It's actually a really cool system and helps me out a lot. But in either case, sign on and stay epic, everybody. Oh, and one last thing that I almost forgot was the dragon packs that we were talking about. These are going to be the new dragons that are going to be coming out with the Trove Heroes update. I have a video talking about them, but we kind of speculated what the packs were going to end up being worth, $10 or $20, because that seems fair considering what you're getting out of the pack is just one dragon, a couple of the neon caches, and then just a framework. And these are going to be split into 2 separate packs that are going to give you one dragon each, a bunch of the neon greater caches, or maybe it's just the normal caches. I think it's the greater ones, and then a framework. Well, read it and weep, guys. Those packs are going to be $50 each. Yeah, I know, that's overpriced.